So after that, I'd never seen this before. I never thought my parents could do this, but they're like, I mean, they're boxing, like they're fighting, like they're going at it.
You're like, great.
Yo,
so I'm getting beat up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the whooping from my mom to cancel the thing, and now they're fighting.
No, yeah. See, people say like I was bullied, like they called me names. Like, no, you don't understand. Like bullying, with what I mean by bullying is they would take me, pull me behind the playground, and then jump me. And then after that, when it was time to go back inside, the teachers would take us to the restroom break and then jump me again, right?
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to This Is Real with yours truly, Pastor Juan Martinez, aka Dr. Love.
And I'm Stephanie Martinez-Rave. Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, today we got an exciting show for you. You know, a lot of times, you know, we get people from all over the I was going to say all over the world, but hey,
kind of.
You know, from everywhere. But today we got a Houston native in the studio. Come on, we got a Houston native. Also, Get Rap native, you know, here in the studio. And I'm excited to hear his story because, you know, a lot of times we think that every story has to be one of like drugs and alcohol and all of these things. Sometimes it's not like that. Like Jesus has like the greatest story ever, and he lived a sinless life.
Yeah.
And not saying that, I'm sure this guy has sin in his life, but it's not, you know, the kind of story that normally we kind of share where somebody's like coming out of prison or doing stuff like that. But I think, well, let's just introduce him. Yeah.
Give it up, everybody, to Gabriel De La Fuente.
De La Fuente, also known as...
we didn't get a burp.
We get a pa.
Welcome.
I don't know. Hey, listen, they would, you know, they were a little. There was a lag. There was a lag
a little bit.
Yeah, but it's super dope that we got you in the studio today. You know, that we get to talk a little bit about your life.
Yes, sir.
And upcoming projects, because maybe they don't know, but you sing.
I do a little bit singing in the shower, and sometimes, you know, here and there. But for the most part, I do sing. Yeah.
And so you have a project coming out. You don't have a date for it to come out.
That's correct. Yes.
But you do have a project coming out.
Yes. Yeah. I have a project coming out in the beginning of 2023. Things are cooking right now. I'm pretty excited.
Cooking.
Yes, they are in the oven right now. You don't want to kind of release things too soon.
Well, I think today we're gonna leak.
Yeah, that's true.
There is a leak right here, and this is real.
It's like a sample, though. You know what I'm saying? For the
a little taste.
Yeah, exactly.
A little taste. Exactly. Well, while you're cooking, it's always good. You're a chef, right? When you're cooking.
Yeah, I was just a little bit confused because we were talking about leaking and samples. So I'm like, it's either good or bad. Which one? But I like the sample.
Yeah, let's stick to that sample.
Well, usually it's a leak because it's not out.
Right.
And they're not going to be able to find it in any platform right now or anything. So it's kind of like a...
Yeah.
You know,
you get it here
exclusive.
first.
Yeah, you get it here first. And after this, you're going to have to stay tuned to see when it, you know, follow him on social media. Yeah, all the details.
Correct.
But hey, let's talk a little bit about you were born in Monterrey.
That's right.
I like saying Monterrey.
I like it too. Keep saying
Monterrey. Monterrey, Mexico.
That's the city.
And raised in Houston, Texas.
That's right.
Yeah, you're from the suburb of Channelview. Is there like a thing? Is there a suburb of Channelview?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of suburbs here in Houston. I mean, you got Katy, you got obviously Spring, and then you have.
But I just thought Channelview was like.
What kind of hood are you talking about, man?
You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe that's why he said suburb, because not that part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, there is like.
So there is a nice area in Channelview.
Sure. I mean, it's not. It's relatively nice. I mean, it's not necessarily like you're talking about like some of the hard spots like Fifth Ward or Third Ward. It's nothing crazy like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are areas that are not as nice or not as, you know, I guess friendly, if you want to say it, for lack of better words. You know
no, I get it. I'm just saying my experience with Channelview and all that was like the Clover and all that, right? Like back in the day, like rappers, the Clover, and basically when I came out of prison and we went and did an outreach, like it was, you know, it was Channelview and everybody was like,
I mean, that sounds about right. I mean, it sounds a lot like a Houston.
So when I guess it's like saying, you know, I live in the suburb of the Bronx. You know, I'm like, you're gonna say, you know, like, suburb, you know, so in my mind,
well, it's definitely not the Bronx, that's for sure.
No, fact. Without a doubt, man. What I've seen on videos,
it's like a jungle sometimes.
Yeah,
like
for real.
It's the zoo.
Definitely not like that.
So,
it's a rainforest.
You have here that you felt yourself like you were an underdog and all that. So I wanna know a little bit about your story.
Okay, cool.
Right, because I know it's not. The story of like, cause even from Channelview, you would think, well, did he get locked up? Did he do this? But what was your life like growing up? Like, what were you like?
So I was 1995, and no. So like you said, I was born in Mexico, but about maybe a year or two after I was born, I went straight to the United States, moved to Channelview, and again, It was cool. You know, I never had necessarily anything of a bad influence around me, which was weird as I grew in my life with Christ or my relationship with Christ, because I see other people saying, "Oh, I went through this and that." I'm like, yeah, I just went through dodgeball. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't necessarily that crazy. But
so your parents did a good job. Like, they were in Christ already. Like, when you,
my parents were in Christ, but they were in Christ, I feel, because it was like a family tradition to be in Christ. I didn't feel like it was necessarily
then.
Yes,
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Now it's obviously a different story,
yeah.
and we'll get to it. But yeah, then it was because it just felt like, you know, the family's doing it. Why not? And even though most of my family is Catholic, that side, as far as my mom's, they went straight Christian, you know, non-denominational, and just put that inside of us. But that didn't necessarily reflect a successful relationship with Christ, at least back then. Even a successful marriage, there were things that I didn't notice back then. Like, for instance, my dad wasn't around a lot, and I just thought, oh, he's a man, he's working, and that's that.
Yeah,
and so when
that's what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, learning what I've learned now, there was still some major factor missing behind it. And then there were things like, I got into baseball and t-ball when I was little. And my mom would always help me. You know, she'd practice with me at the park. It was super cool. So I bonded really close to my mom. But when it came to the time to actually play the game, and sometimes they couldn't show up. Yeah. Sometimes they weren't there. So it sucked for me. It felt like, well, that's the expectation. They just won't be there for you, you know?
Yeah.
And then if I had a crazy moment, because I'm not the physically biggest dude around now, and especially back then. You know.
So you were really little then?
Yeah, I was super little, super skinny. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but when I had one moment, it was really crazy in baseball, where somebody hit the ball. This is t-ball, right? But I guess this kid was on some sort of type of steroids, because he hit the ball all the way in the outfield.
He done threw steroids on the poor kid. Look, if you're out there.
Yo, if you're like, hold on, if you're 6 years old and you hit in the outfield, there's something up. I'm just saying, I need birth certificates or something. You know what I'm saying? But he hit it out there. I'm not paying attention, but I'm just putting my hand up because my coach told me, you know, just put your hand up. And I'm like, okay. They catch the ball. Apparently that was the game-winning catch. And then I was like, what did I do? And they all started kicking. I'm going wild.
All you're thinking is, what's going on?
No, for real.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's cool. And it was like, nobody expected me to catch the ball.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's dope, you know? And so little moments like that were cool, but I never was a highlighted person. Like, if we're playing a game in school, nobody's picking me. You're the last person to get picked, always. Now,
you're the little guy.
Yeah, or not picked at all. Yeah. I just didn't look like that. And then on top of that, that's when bullying came in. And people.
So you were bullied?
Bad, pretty bad. See, people say, like, I was bullied. Like, they called me names. Like, no, you don't understand. Like, bullying, what I mean by bullying is they would take me, put me behind the playground, and then jump me. And then after that, when it was time to go back inside, the teachers would take us to the restroom break and then jump me again, right? And
wow, so you had, how old were you then when you were getting bullied?
I was probably like 11 or 12. You know what I'm saying?
Is that like
10, 11, 12.
Because you enjoy doing youth, and you like music, you have a job, you do this stuff, but you enjoy, since I've known you, you've always enjoyed kind of like helping the youth.
Absolutely.
Does that play a big part of it? Like, what do you think? Like, because even now, like, you hear a lot of times like people getting bullied, and it's like a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, is that why you kind of like are really interested in like the youth and stuff?
I think so. Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, because I would want someone to understand that you have outlets, you have people you can talk to. The biggest problem that I faced was that I never talked to anybody. It wasn't until I got home and my mom was changing me. She wanted to be, you know, we're gonna go to an event, and she saw bruises on my ribs, and she saw a mark on my neck, and she's like, what is this?
Yeah,
and
what's going on?
Yeah, and I never opened my mouth. My mom told me, if you ever go to the principal's office, I'm gonna whoop you. So I knew if I said something, I'm going to the principal's office, which equals whooping. So I'm like, I'd rather take
already
the
got beat up twice.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna get whooped.
Yeah, I don't want to get whooped again. So that's why I never said anything.
Yeah.
You know?
What advice, you know, would you give like a parent? Like, because sometimes I think, okay, so if you weren't talking, right, what advice would you give parents today? You know, based on speaking from the child part that you knew you were, you know, bullied. So what advice would you give them?
I think having an honest, very, very honest and deep conversation with your child, and let them know, hey, look, it doesn't matter even if you were the person who started it. This is a safe place right now. I mean,
so you would create that environment, a safe environment.
Absolutely. I mean, statistically speaking, from the years of 1 through 5 are the years that shape a child eventually, and the relationship with their parent.
Yeah.
So I would say, obviously, take advantage of those first 5 years, and then after that, start to develop even closer relationship. Have those really unpopular conversations and say, hey, look, I know you may be going through X, Y, and Z, but let's talk about it. You know?
No, it's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think like you know, I'm gonna stay here a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that like that created, because you know they say bullies are really just hurt people that hurt people.
Yeah.
So now you're getting bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that affected you in any way, like when you got into your teenage years?
Yeah.
Like what?
And well, in confidence and things like that, like I felt like, you know,
because you could have went to either. So this is good. Because you could have.
Sometimes people like turn into the bully.
The bully. You're like,
because
I'm gonna beat everybody up now.
No, it was weird because
You went the other way.
I went the other way, but in a weird way. Like I would encourage other people, like, hey, you're gonna be all right, but I would still beat myself up internally, like you suck, like, you know, like no one really cares about you and things like that. So it was a really good master.
So you became really insecure.
Yeah, I, without a doubt. Yeah, it's so much so that it affected me in different areas. Like I would see friends of mine who could get a girlfriend or this and that, and I'm like, well, let me give it a shot, right? Like I built my heart's beating if I ever asked a girl out, like crazy, like, right? I'm tripping out, and then when I ask her finally, and she says no, it just like I'm like, well, all right, well that's just my expectation. I'm never gonna get the girl. I'm never gonna get the person. I'm never gonna get the opportunity to get picked on the team or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So
you never amount to nothing.
No, yeah, pretty much. Just meh, you know.
Yeah. So what does it look like, your teenage years? What does that look like?
Teenage years. So my parents get divorced at age of 12, right?
Okay.
Yes, it was a pretty bad moment. They had already been kind of separated because my mom had suspicions about my dad, you know, messing up, and it was still for speculation. Then there was one night where they were hugging, looked like they were, you know, making up or whatever, and then my mom reaches into his back pocket, and he has another phone. And I've never and so after that, I never seen this before, and I never thought my parents could do this, but they're like, I mean, they're boxing, like they're fighting, like they're going at it.
You're like, great. So
More
I'm getting
fight.
beat up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the whooping from my mom to cancel the thing, and now they're fighting.
No, yeah, it was bad. I mean, my mom was chasing my dad, and then this is the part where it really hurt. She slammed the door, and his fingers were still there. And I was like, oh man. I'm like, I know you did something bad, but that I don't know if you deserve that much. That was pretty bad.
So how old are you then?
I was 12. I was 12. Yeah, and then you know. He grabs the phone, slams it on the ground, thinking that it just destroys it. SIM card stays in. My mom puts it in her phone to find everything on there. And it was just, from there, it was horrible.
So how does that affect you when you're 15, 16? Like, what happens?
Well, luckily...
Are you, at this moment, would you consider yourself saved? Or are you like...
I'm saved. I'm saved. I actually very, very... I guess very soon after that, I rededicated my life. Because I got saved when I was 4 years old. I grew up in church all my life.
Yeah.
But at 12, I've heard the phrase, rededicate your life. And I was like, what the heck does that mean? Like, I've never heard that before. I thought you're saved, that's it. But then when I actually did it, I was like, okay. And right after my parents got divorced, and then I had a pastor, his name's Rashad Fortson. He's a super cool guy. He's at Aspire Church. Shout out to him. Rashad, right? And he was telling me about the scripture that says rejoice in the sufferings. And I'm like, it's kind of hard to rejoice right now when life kind of sucks. Like, this is not cool, you know?
But nobody likes to preach on that.
No,
but
seriously.
That's really when you get to almost like be with Jesus.
I mean, blessed are the poor in spirit, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, you know, I end up, you know, rededicating my life. And the Lord put the right people in my life because I get involved in my church with an MMA program. And I started learning MMA. Still lacked confidence. I would always expect to lose, but I was learning a little bit. And this guy named Mike White, he mentored me, and Eddie Ducos, they both mentored me and were there for me. They were the father figure right when my parents got split up.
Oh, that's really cool. So you believe in that? They're like that made a big impact in your life? Because
father figures, you know?
Yes.
Father figures.
Absolutely.
How important you think, like maybe somebody's out there, you know, a guy, you know, he's, how important you think it is for everyone to be somebody to somebody, you know? Is that
yeah, huge. I mean, I think you yourself know, as far as like the statistics when it comes to how many inmates in prison are fatherless. It's overwhelming. It's crazy. So yes, I think if you don't have maybe a physical father, look for a spiritual father, someone who can be there and who has the intentions of having no benefits of encouraging you. When they're for you and supporting you, they just want to see you win, and that's that. Both in father figures and in friends, but just specifically since that's the subject, is those father figures are so key, so vital. Because again, after I was in you know, my 12-year-old years and on to like almost high school, they were there for me. My parents get remarried, you know, by the grace of God. It was super dope in 3 years, so I think it was crazy. After 3 days and then 3 years, it was super dope. And then high school comes up. I go to public school because I was in private school for my middle school years. High school comes up. I go to one of the like craziest schools that are like have Wiccans, have all kinds of atheists and all this yada yada. I'm supposedly prepared, and I'm preaching the gospel like crazy. And I'm like, yo, and these people.
So you're young. That's kind of cool. Like you're young. You're the whole church culture. You're young. You're preaching the gospel in high school.
Yeah.
You're like, the Lord loves you.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. I still again was battling with like internal.
I didn't. You know, when I was in high school, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
What?
Like
preaching,
Jesus and youth group. Like I didn't know it existed. Like nobody ever came to me and said like, you know, Jesus loves you. Like I don't know. I've never just that. I just it didn't. We were in the back. Well,
that's the thing. I didn't go to people and say Jesus loves you. I would just live my life, and they would ask me, why are you smiling all the time? And then I'd be like, well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
There were times.
Well, for me, if I asked one of my friends, why are you smiling? They're like, I just smoke. like no, I'm just being real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody ever hit me with that answer ever. Not that I remember. I mean, we went to Catholic church and I heard it there, but none of my friends.
But you were also in like New Jersey and New York. So like, here's the Bible Belt. So there's churches on every corner. So it's more likely for young people to hear of church and of God. Than it is up north, I think.
So that means we have a mission. Now go ahead.
We're heading up to the north. Just let me know what's up, man, because we all come through.
So confidence, all the stuff.
Yeah.
So these guys are stepping in. You're building your confidence.
And now your father comes back. So you have good father figures, and now your dad's back in the picture.
And you're excited.
Yeah, and respect to my dad, because even when they were divorced, he seeked counsel, and there were times where we had family trips. This is tripped out. We'd have family trips, and even though he was recently married with my mom, but they're divorced, but they're getting back together, he wouldn't like sleep with her. Like he wouldn't sleep in the same bed with her. Like he understood the concept. Like right now we're not married, so right now I don't have that access. And I was
that's difficult too, because you're like, yo, we were married.
Yeah.
We're getting married again. You're
yeah.
in this weird like I don't know. I would have been like, we married.
No, yeah, for real. And I respect my dad for that, because I mean, naturally, like
your parents are dope. Your parents are cool.
Yeah. So it was really cool. So I'm getting my confidence. I'm still not there yet. You know what I'm saying? But enough to at least preach the gospel.
Yeah.
In high school, people would come up to me. There was one time a kid said, I have a headache. And I said, I just, heard that the name of Jesus is powerful. Apparently it works, right? So I go up to the guy. I was like, your head hurts? He's like, yeah. I was like, do you want it to go away? I was like not even thinking that hard about it. And he was like, sure.
So you
like,
prayed.
what are you gonna do? Like, you got a Tylenol or something? I didn't pray. It wasn't like a long, extended, mythical prayer. It was just, I just said Jesus. That's it. And he freaks out. He's like, what did you just do? And I was like, I didn't do a thing. It was all, it's all God and what he did. And so from then on, he gets saved. And after that, he starts talking to friends. And then
do you got like a crew in high school? And like, are you hanging out like with? Because now you're MMA fighting. Like, do you now like start beating people up? Like, I'm just asking. I just really,
No, I mean, I never try to beat up nobody. I was trying to be friends with everybody as much as possible. Not like hungry for like popularity, but just
Are you thinking to yourself, I hope they pick on me now?
No, that's man. A yes. That's
that is so yes. He's like, I can't wait to show him this move.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like it is cool whenever you get to like study the art of, like, for instance, jiu-jitsu is like the main thing I studied, right? Like it's like chess. Like I'm telling you, it's a lot of
totally, because in jiu-jitsu you're using the other person's weight, right?
Correct. Yes, you're using submissions and things like that. So
a little san. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but
I learned something new. But go ahead.
Jiu-jitsu, it's one of the best arts. And so I never wanted to hurt somebody, but I did. Like, I was so enticed by it. I promise you.
A little bit. Hey, Khan.
I'm not a bully.
Hey, give me a pam. You wanted to hurt. You wanted to
hurt nobody, man.
You young too.
I'm a lover, man. I'm safe, but I'm not soft.
The whole communications team is looking over there like they're going like this.
So you're well, I guess what he's asking, like, so then your crew, like, who is now your kind of like core,
who you hanging out with?
Because
are you hanging out with Jesus lovers? Like everybody's like, yo, let's take communion at lunchtime.
I'm hanging out with everybody. Everybody. I'm hanging still with the atheists.
Are you singing?
And the Wiccans. Huh?
Are you singing then?
No, I mean, not singing in like there as in high school, like on the.
Were you like in the class with like the
High School Musical?
No, High School Musicals.
All in this. No.
I mean, were you? Because you love that.
No, I was singing in youth, but I wasn't singing like youth ministry, but I wasn't singing in high school or anything like that.
Should have went to performing arts, something like that.
Could have, man. I should have believed in myself.
You were still. Hey, look, no, back then you were still trying to beat people up. No, he wasn't. He wasn't there. Hey, the whole story changes. So
I'm Gabriel De La Fuente, and I do not approve this message.
So, I'm kind of like, so you're in high school now. You're what happens in your latter high school years? Like you graduate, what then?
Graduate high school, figuring life out. The expectation was you're gonna go to college.
You're gonna go to college,
and you can only be successful and thrive if you go to
college. Are you
college.
confident then? You're still like battling it?
Still battling it.
Because you seem pretty confident now.
Sure. That looks can be deceiving.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm battling it still in different areas of my life. I think it's just more areas that I explored and understood that I have, rather than just simply just going to school and going to church and that's that. It's like, okay, family dynamic, relationship dynamic, like who's really there for you, who's not, discernment like that. And then when people who have left me, like that particular element was like, dang, you know what, like, who really is for me, who's not. So it was like a lot of wake-up calls that I found out who are the real people and who aren't.
Because you're making choices, right? Because I know you, like, okay, so most of, I guess what I've learned from this side of the pendulum was that when you, and even if you've been in the same scenario, right? Like when you walk in that kind of lifestyle and you're young, because you guys actually help youth and promote that.
For sure.
When you like that, there's gonna be the people that don't, and so sometimes you were friends with them, and now they're older, so they're smoking pot or something, and sometimes you like, oh, I can't hang out with them anymore, so now you go over here, and so you keep changing friends. Like, how does that feel? I guess.
I mean, you know, this is real, right? I mean, so we keep it real. You know, so I know for me, my struggle all my life, because I never received that type of like affection, is the female aspect, you know what I'm saying, as far as like attraction and being in that. So I know there are certain friends that hang out at spots that will get me in trouble. Right? Now, my drug isn't drinking, my drug isn't like smoking or doing any other types of things. My drug essentially is lust. You know what I'm saying? That is my thing. You know what I'm saying? And because I think
that's like
most men. Yeah.
Men, women.
I guess I got.
It's like, but hey, no, but I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you would think of like, oh, it can't be a drug. Like, no, it is a drug in so many ways. Yeah, and again, it's not just in the physical aspect. When I'm home alone, you know, things like that. Like what I get introduced to pornography.
We're about to get real crazy with this. We're gonna be right back after a commercial break. We're about to talk about this a little bit because I think this is important. Let's go. We'll be right back.
Stick around.
We're back. So man, so maybe we'll do that with the struggle. So let's get to the place, because we're almost at the age that you are right now, right?
Yeah.
We were like, okay, you got high school, you're in your 20s. So how did it affect your what is that, teenager? What is that, young adult life?
Yeah, young adult.
How does it affect? How did all of that affect your young adult life?
Man, it opened my eyes to, again, the discernment. I think the key thing that I lacked when I was younger was discernment, knowing what was of God and what was not of God, what was for me and what was not for me. So now that I've gotten that experience through different situations, through different relationships, I feel like I can gauge a little bit more when I see someone or how I interact with someone. I'm not sure if this person is for me, or like I know I need to hold on to this person because this person is going to be there to support me, and I want to be there to support them. You know.
Okay.
Do you feel like, because you were sharing, your circle and the crowd of influence and stuff, and we're talking a little bit about at the beginning how you don't necessarily have to go through, drug addiction or like imprisonment or anything like that
to be in prison, because he was in prison.
Right. So do you feel like, especially as a young adult, like in the basically, I would say, church culture, right, that there was a lot of that, what you're sharing as far as like
no, I like it.
Masking a little bit of like, confidence or even who you are, maybe like the struggles that you face. Because I know for me, like in my youth group days, I mean I had great youth pastors, but I don't think we had real upfront talks like, hey, are you struggling with lust? Hey, are you struggling with homosexual thoughts, or that kind of thing? I think what they call it now is like the purity culture, to where it was like, don't do anything, and so then anytime if you did mess up or got close, you just didn't talk about it at all, because you're just like, oh crap,
shame.
Exactly. So
I'm going to hell.
In the circles and the experiences that you had, do you feel like that's something that was a common thread, in kind of like your generation? And at least the people around you. You know?
No, I feel like it was definitely the case back then. I think you hit it right on the money that the culture, it was not necessarily specifically one church, but just the church in general was always just saying, like you say, you know, don't do this, don't do that, but not having that very honest conversation. Like, hey, what are you going through? With the understanding that, hey, we have mess ups too. Like, and I think what frustrates me about everything is that even people who are leaders or pastors don't want to paint the picture that they've messed up, you know, like and, you know what I'm saying? They kind of just want to make sure that their image is, you know, is clear and it's perfect, it's not tainted or anything like that. But there's no salvation behind that, you know what I'm saying? There's no transparency. That's not even scripture, you know, at the end of the day, about overcoming by the word of your testimony. How can I know your testimony if you don't give it to me? You know what I'm saying? True. I can't overcome anything then, and so I'm going to remain in the same place, and I'm only going to reflect, and I'm going to only soak up, because I'm a sponge, what you're giving out. And so if you're giving out wearing a mask, well, I'm going to wear a mask too.
So you're basically reproducing that.
Yeah. Seriously, like, I mean, people wear smiles all the time, but I think people don't understand wearing a smile is a lot heavier than any weight you can pick up sometimes. It's hard to carry a smile. Like, it's hard to sometimes.
You know, actually, I don't smile.
Actually, hey, listen, let me tell you. Let me debunk that. Let me debunk that. There's actually, you use more muscles to frown than you do to smile.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's actually lighter to smile. But I get what you're saying
in the concept
of smiling when you're going through something.
Correct. Yes. When you.
Less muscles, just so you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, statistically speaking, if we're going to the anatomy, physiology of things, yes, of course. But, yeah, I do feel like that is still even a problem to this day in the church. It's getting better, I think, the transparency. And I think
totally.
Get Raps, I love, obviously, God brought me to Get Rap for a reason. Yeah. The fact that there's so much transparency with you and with everybody in the staff, like, that's a culture that I feel like needs to be multiplied and reproduced all over. It sucks that people don't talk about the things they need to talk about.
Totally. You know what, let's just start some of the things. Let's have some fun, because I feel like we got your story in a bulk. You know, and I like to share the stories and stuff, because I think a lot of times you can learn from other people's stories, overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So they'll see your music. I think you're gonna do great, because I got sneak peeks of like your album and stuff, and I think like you're gonna do really good. So it's good for them to understand what you come from, because they'll see that confidence now.
Facts.
I feel like they're gonna see the confidence that at one time you didn't have.
100%.
So it's kind of cool.
Yes, sir.
So let's start with some of the segments. Here we go.
So the first one we're going to start with is Dear Younger Me. Oh my God. So you can go to...
You're like, can you get any younger? He's
any age that you can think of, but we'll Back to the Future, put you in the DeLorean, take us back to a younger version of yourself.
Okay.
What were you like? You know, it could be anything. It could be a couple years ago. It could be, your childhood. What were you like? What were you doing? And if you could give yourself a piece of advice, what would it be?
And hold on, because you love music and all that, when you get into the DeLorean, you have a chance to like pick a song. And as you're going back, what song would you pick while you're going back?
Time travel. Your time travel playlist.
What was your time travel playlist? What would be the song that you would put on as you're going back to talk to yourself?
Oh, man.
Any song.
Go to Funky Town.
Funky Town. Okay.
So take me to.
You got Funky Town, and you're going back.
Funky Town is playing. And where did we arrive?
We arrived. I'm 15 years old.
15 years old.
15 years old. 15 years old. It was a pretty significant year for me. Is where I started to really develop my relationship with Christ and learn the difference between being confident in Him and trusting what He says rather than someone else.
Nice. So what do you tell Gabe? What was he doing? Where's he at? Gabe
is trying to get approval from everybody. Gabe is trying to make sure that he's okay in everybody's eyes and be like, can you, I'm okay. Are we okay? Are we okay? Trying to people please like crazy, Yeah,
and I could see. Okay.
Yeah, and so what I would tell younger Gabe, I'd be like,
go ahead and talk to him.
It doesn't matter about them. They may be there, but they may not. But the word still remains. So listen to what he's saying rather than what they're saying. So I feel like that's the case. I feel like I wanted hugs and approval from everybody else, but the guy's like, I've been here this whole time, but you find their hugs more valuable than mine. So come on.
It's really good. Yeah. I'm gonna put you back in the DeLorean. I am. I'm gonna put you back in the DeLorean.
I'm not that old, but
but hey, check it out. This is where I want to take you to.
Okay, hit me.
So I want you to talk to your mom and your dad right before they were gonna fight. With everything you know now, going back, what would you tell them, because they were about to fight and get divorced?
Yeah.
What would you say to them because I'm pretty sure maybe there's two parents out there or somebody that is going through the exact same thing, and they're not realizing maybe the impact they're gonna have on that child. So what would you say to them if you can speak to them then, not now, because obviously now they're great, but then what would you say to them? You just rolled up.
Yeah, I think I would tell individually and then together.
Yeah.
So individually, I tell my dad, I need you to lead. I need you to really lead. Like, learn what it means to be a man of God and lead this household. And I would say, Mom, I need you to learn how to love not just your kids, but love your husband the way that Christ loved us in their moments that we messed up all the time. You know? And I would tell both of them together, I would say, hey, we're here to lay down our lives for each other. You are supposed to lay down your life for your wife, and your wife lay down your life for your husband. And we would talk to the scripture, talk about the scripture that says no greater love than this, right? Than for a friend to lay down his life for another. I'm like, you guys are not just friends, you're best friends. You married your best friend, so you should be laying down your life. And that's only because, again, I learned that from you guys. I've learned from different marriages and different people that have had success. And it doesn't mean that it was perfect, but there's success in it, you know? So that's definitely what I would tell my parents back in the day. And I feel like that right there, and that honest conversation to really sit down like you're talking about, I feel like it would have been a huge difference, humongous difference.
That's why we like, sometimes, that's what we, you know, Miss Rafe Martinez, when we used to, you know, with that segment, is because a lot of times we find ourselves saying stuff like, man, if I can go back with everything I know now.
Yeah, yes, man.
You know, but there's somebody that is there now.
And that's
so you get to share with them. Yeah.
100%.
Hey, what would you say to yourself? Look at, I put him in the car twice.
3 times, actually.
Well, the first time everybody goes.
Wow.
Okay, so so the question here is more to like everything you've like, because you said you struggled with confidence and all that.
Yeah.
What would you say as a young man, because you said you had some struggles and stuff, and you're still young, single, right?
Yeah.
No kids, right?
No kids.
Okay, so what would you say to yourself maybe in your early 20s about maybe being a young man in this culture and in this world right now? Like, what would you say to yourself with the things that you're learning now, because you're 27?
Yeah.
Right? What would you say
so
to
like
20
I'm 20 essentially, right?
You're 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're kind of like tripping. You got your own struggles.
Yeah. I would say even family and friends' expectations don't define you. The word does, you know. I feel like, again, the expectation to go this certain route, or you know, everybody's family dynamics is different. But sometimes I feel like the biggest part of people who don't have the drug or the rape or the fighting, I guess, testimony, when they go through that kind of like testimony, in the sense of like people expecting them to, like, you have to go to this route, you got to go to college, or you got to do X, Y, and Z. It'd be like, no, like, don't worry about them. Really read my word and say that I'm going to take care of you. Listen to your calling, not your title or the titles that people want to put on you. I feel like people chase titles all the time. And feel like, if I have a title, my name will be shining bright lights. Yeah. And so I've made it, but I mean, batteries run out eventually on those lights. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's true. Well, yeah, there's only one light. Yeah. It's the light. Nah.
Okay, we're going to go into the next segment, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Or do you want to go to commercial break for the next segment?
Oh, we'll hit it. Well, let's kick them off with what it is, and then we'll come back. So the next one, we're going to pull out of the drawer, because we haven't done it in a little while. This one's called Fear Factor, right? So
not Mr. Confidence.
Underneath the table, there's a box full of worms. I'm just kidding. Not that kind of Fear Factor.
Hey, we should do that right here live.
Blindfold me,
Eat this. It's like a cockroach.
Oh, and I'm got a weak stomach, dude. I'll tell you.
Ew, no. All right, let's not talk about no gross stuff.
Come on. We'll let the communications team pick it, too.
Fear Factor is... right, because a lot of times, especially, we're sharing your story and you come from a Christian household and a Christian lifestyle, and so we sometimes think that, we should never be fearful, we should never be afraid, right? Which we shouldn't stay there, right? But we have moments of fear. Everyone faces moments of fear, and so share with us something that you were fearful of and then how you overcame it, and we'll get to that right after our commercial break.
I want to know what you're scared of. Hey, listen.
Welcome back,
they got
guys.
me jamming. Okay, so where we're at?
Fear factor.
Fear factor. And listen, because there's like this thing that I don't know, in Christianity, like yes, I get God is not giving us the spirit of fear. Hear me. But I think it's okay for us to say, hey, this was a moment. The whole point is that for it not to paralyze you or keep you stuck. But I get afraid of stuff, and I'm pretty sure that Paul and all these guys in those days, when you're going to go out there and they're going to hang you like a candle, pretty sure you're a little bit nervous and maybe a little bit scared. Yeah. Now, we move forward because of the Spirit of Christ. You understand? So I think there's this like, you can't be afraid. Oh, don't say that. Right. Like, no, you're going to, like, you first probably start afraid and then you kind of go, you're led by the Spirit of God so you don't stay stuck. Right. So I just want to make that clear, because sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to say I'm afraid. No, we all have something there. So what's the fear factor for you?
I don't know if we want to go super deep or if we want to go like whatever natural.
We want to. Hey, listen. This is for them to get to know you. But go ahead. Go ahead, Stephanie. What were you gonna say?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, like there's people who are listening or watching. Who
depends what you want to do.
Relate to
do you want to set them free? Come on, hey, listen.
No pressure.
We want to know everything.
All right, I'm gonna hit them with a double whammy. Heights. What if heaven is really up there? like that's what I'm saying.
Hey, you're in heaven the whole time.
I'm telling you, but even in the spiritual or like metaphorical aspect, the higher you go, it's harder, because if you go higher and you fall down, you're gonna die. But going to the physical aspect, yes, heights was like I hated it. Even now.
So how do you overcome that? Like when somebody goes, hey, let's go over here, and it's a real tall building, and you go on the roof for a photo shoot. Do you overcome it? I make myself do it.
Like,
but inside you're freaking out.
Oh, I'm dying. I'm like, oh my God. Like I overcame it like pretty much a lot when I went to Universal Studios with my mom. We did with my whole family. My mom was the only one who wanted to ride the roller coaster, the Hulk. I was like, I gotta do it. I'm gonna do the ride that does flips this time, like for the first time ever. I gotta overcome this.
Yeah, you gotta overcome.
And then I did it, and then after that, now.
And then there was like, hey, we heard this guy screeching, screaming.
I was hitting the high notes.
They're like, where's that coming from?
Yo. Yeah, no. Heights was definitely my thing. Like now, I mean, don't get me wrong. My heart's pounding, but like I kind of want to overcome it. One of my goals is to do bungee jumping, which I'm a little jealous because you did bungee jumping at the rodeo one time.
It was fun.
I was so mad.
It was pretty scary.
She bungeed.
I know. I was like, she beat me to it.
Let me ask you this question. So, okay, because now we're on the fear topic, right? In your Christian walk, I know like we're talking heights.
Yeah.
But in your Christian walk, is there something that kind of like freaks you out, and then like you overcome it, but it freaks you out?
I don't know.
Because now you're doing this project.
Yeah.
Right?
Elements.
Right?
Different elements.
And so you're like, do you go through man, I get pumped up because the song's dope, then all of a sudden the little whisper?
Yeah.
Where you're kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, I've overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of my testimony.
Yeah.
But periodically, some of those things still kind of like try to haunt me, even though I don't allow it. You know, I kind of hold it captive. I do all the things the Bible tells me to do.
Yeah, because I would say more than likely your comfort zone as far as singing and stuff has been, like you mentioned with youth group and things like that. So stepping out now as a solo artist and doing things that now you're not singing songs that other people wrote. Now you're singing songs that you made, I don't know if you write all your songs, but, you wrote. So now you're susceptible to new criticisms and stuff.
Do you hear that?
It's the Holy Ghost.
No, I'm saying like, do you hear like
words
it's
like
not gonna be good?
No.
Oh no,
because you're in fear. You're in fear.
No, heck no.
Okay, so you
have no fear stepping out as a solo artist.
No, I don't have fear stepping up as an solo artist. I think I have fear of the transparency and honesty. I think
so that
it's
is
like
a fear.
Yeah,
okay.
well, no.
Because I was saying, now you're writing songs that come from you, whether they're, literal or it's in a sense of trying to set
now
other
you're
people
putting
free,
yourself out
but
there.
now it's gonna be like, oh, this is Gabriel's song,
right? But it's not like if people will like it or not. I mean, respectfully,
you know they're gonna like it.
But the fear of
either I know I'm gonna like it or I know I need to put this out. But for me, it's like, oh snap, they're about to know a new level of you, and that goes both in music and like in conversation. Sometimes my heart's beating when I'm about to confess something I did wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, like what are they gonna think? But but it is what it is. So.
Okay. So how have you overcome that?
How do you overcome that?
Trying to overcome it?
I think I've overcome it with relationship. I feel like when I have like things like oversights or I have, conversations that, are like making me feel comfortable with, hey, it's not about me pushing you to the side, but I want you to grow. Like, then after that, those confirmations happens, then I can talk to you a little bit more about like, what's going on. It's still kind of like scary. It's like tiptoeing on the edge of the building. But you know, once you actually go through and walk to the other side, you feel so much better because you've progressed. And I know like that's my struggle too.
Okay, so you went singing in a youth group. So what? Because you were singing in a youth group, and then since I've known you, I know you stepped out and did a little bit of like Broadway stuff and all that.
Yes.
And then like, so I know your passion and your zeal for it. What got like? Now you're writing an album. Like, how do you go from, you know, I guess not being confident to doing a little Broadway, you know, and then now singing and doing an album, and then like really being excited about it when you were this kid that just was like, oh, I just sing here.
Lacked confidence.
Yeah. When did you go, I'm gonna sing to the world? When did that happen for you? Like, when did you go like, I'm gonna sing and everybody's gonna hear me?
Yeah, I think it was just actually within the last 3 years or so.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty recently where I just felt like God was telling me like, well, again, why are you worried about anything else other than what I've called you? So I knew for a fact, like after again a couple years, like, you know, I could do this, and you know, God's been providing for me left and right, all kinds of things. So why can't He provide for me in this music industry and in the album? And my goal and motivation is to, as far as when it comes to making music, is to really step up the game with Christian music. Maybe not Christian music, but music in general. Because let's be honest, I'm just stay straight up, and I may offend some people, but it is what it is. But the Christian industry right now, whether in any media platform, most of the time it's movies or music, you know, it's either expected to be thriving in that genre, in Christian and gospel, and that's it, or like in the movies they're super cheesy and super corny.
Yeah.
And or like they're super PG. And I get
Chosen's fire.
Chosen's fire. Don't get me wrong, Chosen's fire.
Hey,
but
they coming up. We coming up.
No, but you know.
That's a story about Jesus, you know what I mean? So it's like, he didn't really have to write the script.
Right.
He did, though. No, I got to give him props. He did, because he gives you that other side. I think he means,
like, as far as Christian entertainment.
I know what he's saying. I just got to, you know, I'm going to protect a little. You know what I'm saying?
We all like The Chosen. Please do not come for us.
Yes, we promote it. Shout out to The Chosen.
We're fans.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, my motivation to make music is I want to go into the genres where the secular world is thriving and say, hey, you didn't get music. Music came from heaven, and so we're here to take back this territory that doesn't belong to you anyway, period. And not with, like, you know, holly jolly stuff, but keep it real, keep it raw, but know that the reason why we how we got out of the real raw situations was through Christ. You know what I'm saying? In the transparency of it. I'm sick and tired of seeing, like, only Christians thriving in just like little ponds. Like, we should be taking over oceans. Like, what's going on here? You know, and we have that inside of us. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So that's Oceans was pretty popular.
I think we're doing a lot. I think we're doing a lot better, though.
Absolutely.
I think
100%.
we're doing a lot better, especially like in rap and all that. Like, I feel like I'm like, oh, okay, this is getting better.
100%.
Dudes are coming out that are like,
you know? Yeah, finally. Yeah. I feel like the expectation of like being so cookie cut is slowly starting to diminish, and the authenticity and the transparency is really being promoted now. I feel.
What do you know? Okay, now this is just maybe fun fact or something, but when you sing, what do you consider? Like, isn't there like a alto, a falsetto?
So technically speaking, I'm a tenor. I thought you were talking about genres.
No.
So tenor, technically I'm tenor.
What does that mean for us who are not musically inclined?
It's probably okay. So you have different like parts when it comes to harmony, right?
Yeah.
So you have the soprano,
which sounds like what?
I mean, to give me a song.
I don't know.
We don't know. That's the point.
So, like so.
Okay, that's soprano.
Yeah. Okay. That's soprano, right?
Okay.
And then alto.
Okay.
And then tenor's.
You're a tenor?
I'm a tenor. No.
Oh.
I mean, I'm like right now freestyling. I mean, it's
okay.
I need
because you said you were a tenor.
And then bass is.
Bass. Yeah, you're thinking bass.
Bass is.
He's not a bass.
Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still waiting for puberty right now. I don't have a beard yet, so I'm just like, you know.
Talk about singing.
That is hilarious.
I'm just saying, like, let's be honest, you know? But that's pretty much the breakdown of the different parts and things like that.
Yeah. And so, do you think like what comes after this project?
Another one. DJ Khaled, what's up?
Wow. Hey, look. Okay, another project.
Another project.
Do you get back into singing Broadway and stuff? Do you ever hope like to be in like write a play, sing in a play?
I would love to perform in a play, but to write one, I don't know. I don't think I'll see myself in Broadway.
But you'll be in it singing?
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Nice.
Performing. That's my dream.
If you can be in any play.
Any play?
Ooh, which one would you? They let you pick.
Dang, can I get 3?
No.
Dang.
We'll give you 2.
2? Okay, 2. Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Absolutely. Definitely. Phantom of the Opera. And then the other one would be Dear Evan Hansen. It's a new one that just came out. Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. It's a really good story.
Okay. Dope.
Well, I don't know if it'll fit, but we're going to end it with the last series really quick, or the last segment.
Series.
Oh, I'm thinking series.
Yeah.
Chosen. I'm still defending the fact that we like it.
Hey, come on.
The last one, so we called this You Think You Know Me, right?
You think you know.
And maybe, you've shared quite a bit here now, but there's probably a thought of who Gabriel is. They might know you as Gabriel, from youth. They might know you as Pastor Gabriel, from youth ministry, or from singing, on the worship team. But basically, You Think You Know Me. Share with us some type of misconceived notion that people may have of you, and then tell us why it's not that. And you got to kick it off with You think you know me.
Yeah, you got to start it off with you think you know me.
Man, so
little attitude too.
So meaning people think that I'm
yeah,
this,
they think
Pastor
Gabriel's always like this, or
because they're watching from Instagram, or they're watching, so they don't really know.
Yeah,
unless they know you. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? So they think you're this, but you're really not.
Wow.
What do you think it is?
I'm pretty forward. I mean, I guess so. You think you know me, but I guess I do have my seasons and tendencies to go into super hardcore metal or EDM stuff,
no way.
Yeah, I rock out a little bit.
Okay.
I'll go in the car and just punch in the seat, I guess, because I don't want to hit anything else and cause an airbag. But
okay, that is a definitely. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm super into UFC. Hardcore.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty deep in there. I get a little fanatical.
What about in a Christian sense, So there's no misconceived notions of he's
probably
this, you know what I mean? Because
yeah, and let me give you an example like that. I remember sometimes an example helps. Antoine Hill from KMF.
Yeah.
Everybody always thought that he was angry.
Yeah.
Because of the way he looked.
Yeah.
But he's really the super funny, cool guy, He's I don't see where people will see he's angry. But, I think Pastor Stephanie too, at one time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody used to think she had that, girl, you mad? But she's no, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, that's my thinking face.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all.
So how about you?
So for me, now that you think you know me, right? That when I come to church with the energy, I'm really not a morning person. I hate the mornings. I don't like that. I get the energy really. It's gonna be really crazy from everyone around you guys. Being at a place that I feel welcome and happy and safe. But really, and deep down inside, I'm tired. I'm really inside don't talk to me. I don't want to talk.
Oh, so you don't want to talk or nothing?
I don't want to talk or nothing. I don't feel like greeting y'all sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just you know what I'm saying? But the Lord.
So now we know this Sunday. Good morning.
Oh my God. I'm open up the service and I'm really
wow,
no, but
that's dope. That's a real one. That's a real one.
Yeah.
So since we're gonna, before we end the show, this is your first project. How would you? And the album is called Let It Out.
That's correct.
What would you describe, kind of the synopsis of it? What is this record or this album mean?
Yeah.
So the original title was going to be called Word Vomit, but that was a little too controversial. So I was let me just go ahead and change it up. Shout out to Mariana, she helped me with that title.
Yeah.
And Let It Out is talking about the things that I never really got to talk about. I'm finally releasing a project that I never got to do, so I'm letting everything out so that the world can kind of see that Gabriel De La Fuego stepping up to the plate.
Gabriel De La Fuego.
Yes,
and let me ask you something. With that, so that's really good. What is your life message?
My life message?
Yeah, so, everybody usually has
you would everyone
message.
To know, when they encounter you.
So you're letting it out.
Mm-hmm.
When that's out, what will they know?
It's going to work out.
It's going to work out.
It's going to work out. If it's not the end, then it's not over.
Nice.
I mean, that sounds.
No, that's it's great.
It sounded really deep in here, but now if you catch me.
That's cool. All right, so we don't have a date yet, but it'll be 2023.
Correct.
Where can they find it? Where can they find you? Are you
working
on promo stuff? Are you guys shooting videos? Anything behind the scenes, stuff like that? Where can they look for that?
So we just finished up a single coming out very, very, very soon. So y'all guys will be able to check it out. It's called Dangerous.
Nice.
You can find me on G De La Fuego on Instagram. You can also find me as Gabriel De La Fuente on Facebook. I don't really do Twitter, so you can find me G De La Fuego. It's you're not gonna find much, to be honest. But yeah, it'll be coming out.
It'll be on all platforms.
It'll be on all platforms. It's gonna be pretty exciting. You really, guys, I'm telling you really don't want to miss out.
And you're working with a few people, right? Do you want to release maybe a couple names? You want to name drop?
Yeah. I have
name three real quick.
Expected or unexpected.
Okay, so I have a friend. His name's Trip G. He's coming from California.
Okay.
Super dope. I have a friend. He's like insanely good. His name's Syph.
Okay.
Yeah. Super excited. Yeah. And one more. Actually, believe it or not, the one and only. He's here in the studio right now. Dr. Love is gonna be on the EP. Y'all didn't see that one coming. Y'all didn't see it coming though.
Nope, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Someone's excited.
You might be surprised though.
You're gonna be flipping out. I promise. You do not want to miss out when this thing drops. Like it's gonna be insanity.
I think it's gonna be good.
That's really awesome. Well, we're excited for you, Pastor Gabriel. Thank you so much for joining us, Pastor Juan. Any encouraging words for the people?
As the man said, don't you dare quit. It ain't over.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning into This Is Real.
Juan Martinez from This Is Real.
And I'm Stephanie Rave, and we're so glad you joined us. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you get notified every single time we have a new episode.
And don't forget, in Houston, Texas, on 100.7 FM, every single Saturday night, we're on the airwaves from 6:30 to 7:30, man, with real people, real problems, real solutions. The show is rocking.
Amen.
But not only that, not only is the show rocking, we're also reaching 53 cities, 51 state and county jails and prisons. And what we're doing is we're bringing the word to them. We're bringing them some laughter and some good times and some fire.
Amen.
And so for that, we need some partners. So if you want to partner with us, please click on the link below.
And don't forget to follow us on social media, #ThisIsReal, or on any other platforms, Pastor Juan Martinez.
Hey, that's a wrap.